where Nietzsche compares the will to a wave washing into and out of some rocks, and it's a beautiful passage, and I don't have it with me, and if I can find it online, I'll copy paste it to the description box, or maybe I'll read it in another response video to this. But you know, the basic underlying concept or philosophy behind this poetry or metaphor that Nietzsche makes between our will, or the will, and waves, because I think what he's trying to say is that the I, or the ego, or the free will that we think we are, is a fiction of language, and that the world itself acts out of necessity. It washes in and out, and in and out, and beings are born and they die, and they're born and they die, and never does any separate sense of ego or essential nature or self arise, because every rise is followed by a fall, and so all things go together. There is a will, but it is not ours. It is not owned by any individual, unless that individual has become the Übermensch, or self-actualized. And I'm going to try to connect this or relate it to a completely, well, you know, not unrelated, because I'm going to try to relate it, but in a sense, you know, there's no real intellectual or logical justification to relate Hinduism and the method of karma yoga to anything Nietzsche said. But I think they, at least mentioning these two ideas, it brings an interesting perspective upon us, because we gain the context of these two very different cultural reactions to, I think, a similar underlying experience of what it feels like to exist, to be in a perpetual state of becoming. Karma yoga comes up in the Bhagavad Gita, where you know, Arjuna, the warrior, is sort of being trained or coaxed into accepting his dharma, which is to wage a dynastic war against his own family for the honor of his kingdom. And one of the methods that Krishna, which is an avatar of Brahman, an incarnation of God, one of the methods that Krishna tries to teach to Arjuna is karma yoga, or the yoga of action. And this is sort of, you know, a lot of the Hindu saints or Brahmins thought that to really become enlightened, to attain moksha or liberation, you need to withdraw from the world and not act, and just exist in this pure ascetic life of contemplation. And karma yoga is sort of, well, a lot of people say that the Buddha was the perfect exemplification of what karma yoga embodies, and that is being able to exist in the world and act in the world, and still maintain your, you know, so-called enlightenment. It's the Bodhisattva's vow, really. The yoga of karma is accepting one's own doing, realizing that your thoughts, your wishes, your desires, what you think is your will, that creates the world. It doesn't get you anything that's already there. All of your urges, your attachments, are your own creation. And when you see an object in the world, it's an attachment in your mind, or your perceptual apparatus. It's a blemish on your lens. And accepting that fact is like accepting your karma, which in, Western terms or philosophical terms, karma just means the law of cause and effect. We call it nature, physics, or our genetic endowments that, we don't really get to choose. The things that we are born with, that our parents have given to us. In other words, all our baggage, all of our conditioning, mental and physical. That's what karma is. And accepting it just means seeing that ultimately you are an original incarnation of God yourself, or of Brahman. And so to suppose that you, as an individual, had free will requires that you forget your union with the whole. Because, the problem with free will is that you can choose the good or the evil. You can choose to act out of love or act out of selfishness. But do you really have a choice, though? That's what the method of karma yoga is asking you to inquire into. Can you not act? Or are all of your actions reactions? It's basically asking, are you your past? Or are you here, now, acting? Because if you have free will, well, you're clutching and grabbing and attaching to various things or objects in your experience that aren't really there. This is why free will always also implies determinism, because you, as a free, autonomous, separate agency, you are doing battle with all these other separate autonomous agencies, Otherwise you wouldn't understand what it was all about. I mean, as soon as you have this essential nature, this egoic consciousness, you exist among others who are just as egoic and separate, and that's threatening. But part of karma yoga is seeing that you're always connected to the world. Your actions give rise to your world. There is no reality without you. And so through actions, compassionate actions, actions which recognize our fundamental unity with everything, the wholeness of all of existence and becoming, we are to accept our karma, which is just realizing that we do it all. When we experience goodness, we're doing it. When we experience evil, we're doing it. Our experience is what we are doing. The wave is always crashing and swelling up again, and crashing and swelling up. And who's doing it? Well, the ocean is doing it. What's the ocean? Everything. So maybe karma yoga and the will as a wave, Nietzsche's idea, maybe there is a bit of a relationship. Maybe not, but I thought I would try to marry the two. You guys might end up divorcing them, and I would, certainly welcome the challenges, because if it's not a strong marriage, then it's inevitable. But thanks for listening. Let me know what you think.